For some, the dream will happen, while others, through faith, will make their dream a reality. Most were overlooked. All of them were underestimated. But the truth is they were undeniable. The Undrafted Pros.
All right, guys, welcome to the first episode of Undrafted Pros. I got one of my brothers with me today. He went undrafted and carved out a 20-year career in the NBA. He was the most improved. He was sixth man of the year. A very humble beginnings in the basketball world. And like I told you guys, I want to bring guys and girls on every week who didn't have the opportunity to get drafted. And I want to make sure we shed light on their story, because in today's day, I think stories like this gets lost, and I think it needs to be told, because there's going to be more people that go undrafted than there are that go drafted. And these are the type of stories that can really inspire those out there who feel like they're not wanted on the team or can't make it. You hear these type of stories, and it just gives you light. So I wanted to say what's up to my brother, DA. What's happening, man?
How you doing, man? Everything's good?
Man, everything good, man. Just, up here enjoying life in this hot weather in Minnesota,
Yeah, we was up there a couple of weeks ago. It was a blizzard.
Yeah. So I just want you to kind of just tell people about like your journey going undrafted all the way from not even getting a high school scholarship and going on to play college ball and then NBA, Europe, and that type of thing.
Well, real quick, I try to see if I can break it down pretty quick. Never played high school basketball until my senior year. Never tried out until my senior year. Ended up making the team. Go to Fayetteville State. No scholarship. No nothing. Walk on in football. Walk on in basketball. My third year, and played in my next 3 years there. And so fell in love with the game. Got seen in intramurals in college, and next thing you know, I was put on the team. And but for me, probably met probably one of the two most important people at that time was Raymond Felton, the intramural head coach, and he was like, you need to come to try out and play for us next year, because he was the interim coach. And I did, and he put me on the team, which was great. And then when Jeff Capel took over the job, he came in my last 2 years and made that program into a unbelievable program where we was ranked the highest. We was ranked, I think, was like, I want to say ninth, which is the first time we was ever ranked. The college was ever ranked at Fayetteville State, which is a black college, Division II, CIAA. But from there, that was the voice I heard that always said he thought I could make it on the next level, and I believed it. I trusted it. And from there, it just took off. It was 5 years, minor league. Got drafted to the Raleigh Bullfrogs, the Global Basketball Association.
How much was you making a week in that association?
That's a good question. I mean, you're not making no crazy numbers. You're just trying to get an opportunity to be seen and look. So my first practice there, that was my first semi-pro team. Was my first practice. We had a little drove up to Raleigh, North Carolina, and we got a meet and greet with fans and stuff. And it was mostly Raleigh, North Carolina, NC State players who was on the team. Chris Corgiani, and Chuck Nevitt, and a lot of other guys. And I saw Chuck Nevitt the night before at the meet and greet. The next day in practice, he wasn't there, and I'm sitting here like asking guys, "Yo, where's Chuck? Chuck's not playing." He was like, "Oh, you didn't hear? Chuck got called up to the Lakers." So right there, it clicked to me like, okay, this is how this thing is working. So let me get to work. But unfortunately for me, I got released from the Raleigh Bullfrogs. Went back, tried to go back to school and get my education, but I couldn't concentrate. I wanted to play basketball. I left school, and probably the biggest league at this time. It doesn't exist as well. It was the USBL. That's the league that got me into the NBA summer league camps. And for me, from there, that's when it took off because I had the opportunity now to not only get seen by the top scouts and top teams. I was playing in the summer league, and but it took me. Like I said, I had to go back to school and I had to trust my instinct and like I said, I left and went and tried out and made the team. And one of our coaches, Al Outlaw, told me he was trying to cut me. He said, "But everybody I put up against you, you outworked them defensively." And then I found out you had some offense. So for me, I was just grinding. I was picking up full court. You know how I always do. Um,
Turn them.
Turn them, yeah. And I was turning them, and then next thing you know, I was on the team. And like I said, that league was the biggest league for me because my last game of the season, that first year I played in the USBL, we got beat in the championship game, and we came back from Jacksonville, Florida, and my coach like, "Yo, you need to pack your stuff. You're going to Atlanta Hawks summer league. They want you to come in." And I went into summer league, and from there, it just kept going back and forth to different teams. I went overseas and played in Cyprus, Greece, and then I came back to the USBL and then tore that lead up again, and then went into summer camp with Orlando and tore that league up where I probably could have got picked up and put on a veteran roster where all my money wasn't guaranteed, so I decided to just go back on overseas to Spain and from Spain is where I led the league in scoring in my last game of the season. I got the call to come play with Orlando Magic. It took me 5 years, but that grind was unbelievable. That grind was something that made me tough mentally, physically, and you know, I thank God for that grind because that's what I had. That's all I had. That and faith, and I walked out on faith and trusted it, and look what happened.
Definitely. So, for a lot of people that don't know, you play with Shaq, you play with Penny, you played on some of those them great Orlando Magic teams, right? So, my thing is this, when you came and you got on that team, you were coming off the bench, you got sixth man of the year and most improved in the same year. Now, after you did it, you finally got rewarded with some good money, right? You got your contract. Me being an undrafted player, even after I got my big deal, mentally, I still felt like I hadn't made it. I hadn't arrived. So I never really took my foot off the gas. And I tell a lot of people, sometimes I never really enjoyed myself because I was always undrafted and I felt like I had to always be alert. Did you ever get to a point where you was like, I made it, I'm safe now?
Well, for me, even when I got to the team to Orlando that year, I signed with them the last 14 games of the season, and that's the year they went to the NBA Finals. Didn't get to play, didn't get to participate in anything, which made me feel like I'm not really part of the team, but I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, I didn't get to participate as well. But I was felt like I was part of the team. I felt like I had to continue to grind to not only stay in the league, but try to get these coaches to get confidence in me and practice. That was my game time. My practice time was my game time. And then after Shaq left, I really didn't get a chance to really play with him. But when Shaq left and Penny was took over the team, that's when I finally got the opportunity. My third year, my first 2 years, I had to continue to work. I had to bust my butt, be there early, an hour early, and leave an hour late. That was no joke, and that was the routine. But I had a big playoff series after Shaq left, where we played Miami Heat, and I just had the next 3 games. That's when the games was first round was 5-game series. It wasn't 7, and playing against Tim Hardaway Jr., Tim Hardaway, who was a superstar in this league, Olympic player. I had to come in the game and go against him.
He threw a TV on the floor too.
Yeah, later on in his career, he threw a TV, and I went back and got it and plugged it up. It worked, but it wasn't no pitching. But for me, that was a big step for me to play in the playoffs and have a career high. I got my career high 21, 8, and 5. steals, and we ended up coming back and winning, being down by like 20 something. And the next game, come back and get 12 and 9 rebounds. That is in rebounds. And we get next thing you know, we up in Miami in game 5, and nobody thought we would be there. So that was a big step for me. And then from there, everything just started taking off. And then um, I had a season where I tore my rotator's cuff, and I had to miss the last 32 games of the season. Chuck Daly was our coach, and did my MRI in Indiana. I never forget Troy. He called me to his room. He told me, and I knew Chuck had fell in love with the way I played and how hard I played. And he told me, he said, "I'm gonna fight for you." He said, "I love what you did this year for us, but you're gonna miss the last 32 games of the season. You have to have surgery on your rotator's cuff." I didn't know what rotator's cuff was. And man, I found out real quick. It was that baseball pitcher injury. And I did rehab and came back. We had a lock. That's when we first had the first lockout season, when we came back and played 50 games. I think it was 98, 99. And man, did I come back and tore up the league coming off the bench, winning 6-man, most improved. And I did get rewarded a 5-year, 20 mil contract. So I mean, I got rewarded, and man, it was great. And the timing might have been off, because if I would have waited one more year, we're getting 6-man and most improved. That contract would have been even bigger. But I was still happy. I was still blessed with what I got. And from there, like you say, I always kept that instinct of, somebody's trying to get my minutes, somebody trying to get my job. I did enjoy Troy, but what kept me on the edge and what kept me going was what you said. Um, I don't want to get complacent. I don't want to be where now I'm not working anymore. I'm not in this gym late. I'm not in it early getting my weight workout in. Doing all the little things to prepare yourself. And I stayed on top of it. And I got 14 years out of this NBA. When I got to the league, I was age 26, and I got 14 in and finished at age 40. I was trying to play one more, but I retired in the workout because my body said that's it. So
Exactly. So throughout that journey, especially when you was going back and forth like overseas, because I know you're from Fayetteville,
mm,
right?
mhm.
North
No,
Carolina.
Gastonia, North Carolina, but
Gastonia,
school.
Gastonia, yeah,
Yeah.
Gastonia.
Mhm.
Um, and I know you're a country boy. Have you ever been out the country before that?
No, no, no. The furthest I've been anywhere out of the country was when we played the USBL played. I think we played the uh, Puerto Rican tournament with Olympic teams. That's when Jordan and was there. They was trying to qualify, so they brought Cuba. They had all this team. We ended up winning it. That's the farthest I've been, was Puerto Rico. And I thought I was out of the country. I didn't know.
So
But
did so did you ever get like on that journey? Did you ever get discouraged, homesick to where you was like, man, I don't know if I can keep doing this?
no, no, I didn't. You're gonna miss your friends. You're gonna miss times where you think we was 6 hours ahead of when I was in Cyprus, and when I was in Spain, we were 6 hours ahead of the U.S. And I used to think, man, my boys them going out right now, and I knew I was on. I knew I was trying to get there. For me, and I just, like I said, I kept grinding. But the best thing for me was when I got that call, my last game of the season in Spain, and I had an unbelievable game that night. 38 points, 8 threes, and made, and eight assists. And we ended up winning the game. And then the moment when I got that call when I got back home was my agent calling me and telling me, hey, you're official member of the Orlando Magic. You just need to go to the airport. Should be a ticket there for you. The airport was 2 hours away. I got the family taxi to take me. The mom, the wife, and the daughter. They took me to the airport. I didn't think I was gonna make it, so they was flying. You know how they drive overseas. But got there and they had a ticket for me, and I was flying back to the United States. Signed my first deal with Orlando, and never forget, we was in Spectrum Stadium. Um, and that's when we walked right back across the street to the football stadium and signed my deal underneath the Veteran Stadium. and walked back, and first two players I met was Shaq and Horace Grant. And I said, "Damn, these are two of the biggest guys I ever saw in my life, man." But I knew I made it. I saw my number 10 with Armstrong on there, and what a 24 hours turnaround because I was playing my last game in Spain, and next thing you know, I'm walking in the locker room with my name on the jersey with the Orlando Magic, and sitting there on the bench, I was in awe. I couldn't lie. I can't lie to you. I was happy, but in shock um, that journey, it paid off.
Rumor has it that out of high school, you can kick a 50-yard field goal barefooted.
that, that rumor is not true, but it's true. I gotta have a shoe on. These feet is already bad, but these toes are bad. You've seen these toes before, so but
They ain't worse than
nah,
Shaq's.
nah, they not the same as Shaq. They both overlap each other. But yeah, that was my love. Football was always my love. That's why I say I played 13 years of football first, never played basketball. And I didn't pick up basketball until the end of my 11th grade year in high
So you
school.
didn't have hoop dreams. You didn't have dreams to be in the NBA.
No, I had dreams to play in the NFL. I was a wide receiver in my 10th grade year, and um, wide receiver when I played Pop Warner, but played defense. I could hit guys. I didn't mind hitting. I think I got a lot of my toughness from my uncle and them when they used to make me play tackle football and told me you better not crack, because I'm playing with older guys. And so for me, football was always my love. And then my senior year, I ended up kicking two field goals. Uh, my senior year when I wasn't even supposed to kick, the field goal kicker quit right before the season, and they needed someone to kick. And then my college coach Jeff Capel asked me would I help him, and I told him yeah. Ended up kicking two 47-yard field goals that year
Oh, for Fayetteville State?
for Fayetteville State. Yeah, I had the record, but ain't that something? Out of all the players that can come through there. Well, we do the same thing at the white college too, Division One. A white dude came and broke my record, man. Ain't that something? At a black college.
I didn't know there was no black kickers out there until I met you.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't usually see that too much often. I'm telling you. And I was a straight on kicker. My idol was Mark Mosley. I could tell you what, you could do a trivia on this, and nobody would believe me. Nobody would know that. You would say, if you ask somebody what field goal kicker was the only field goal kicker to ever win MVP in the NFL, that's Mark Mosley.
Oh, really?
Do your homework on it, Mark Mosley.
Okay.
That was my idol.
So coming from Gastonia, so that's Sleepy Floyd, right?
Sleepy Floyd went to our crosstown rivalry, which I used to play against him a little bit before I got in the league. And then James Worthy, we also went to the same high school, and we got Whiteside, who also from near that way. And
what Whiteside?
We got what's his name? Hassan. Well, yeah, Hassan Whiteside. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he's from down that way, and so we got a couple guys that made some noise in the NBA.
So they got a street named after you?
Nah, I don't think they're gonna ever name no street after me. But hey, I see. Hey, there's a street in North Carolina in Gastonia say Armstrong. So
that's yours. That's yours.
That's my street. Hey, bringing people home. That's my street right there.
Right. So like right now, with the mentality that you had and the journey that you had to take, how do you use that now to encourage even guys that didn't take your journey, even guys that may have got drafted? How do you encourage them and keep them locked in by using what you've been through? Because a lot of times people say, okay, he's old school, right? And this is a young generation. How do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing is I think Dr. J did a great thing with me and always told me to make sure you learn the history of your basketball. The guys who came before you, guys who are gonna come after you, guys who was with you, know the history of basketball. And for me, I think you hope that guys know who you are, know how you played, and know your reputation. And a lot of time that makes it easy for you to talk to guys, workout guys, and they understand because they know and they're gonna do their homework. They're gonna go back and wait a minute, who's this Darrell Armstrong? Why you always talking this noise, in practice and stuff? And then they can go back and see that, hey, I was legit. I mean, I didn't, I wasn't the one who just, took a back seat. I played hard and I led by example, and I had the skills. So when you run the point guard in the NBA, you already know that was one of the toughest point guards, one of the toughest position to run in the NBA is
Especially
the
back
point guard
then.
position.
Especially
Yes,
back then.
yeah, and then it was physical. You could touch guys, you could forearm guys, and you had to know how to play. You really had to know how to play because one night you might have Jason Kidd, next night you got Steve Nash.
Yeah.
2 days later, here comes Stephon Marbury. Next 3 days later, here come AI, and the list just continue to keep going and going. So, so for me as a leader, try to use my leadership. You always, like you said, Troy, you got to adjust to the time. There's no more old school. Those days are gone. We are dealing with a new generation, and you have to teach them because a lot of times, to me, I feel like AAU. They play a lot. AAU has been a big thing in basketball over the last few years, over the last what 10 to 12, 20 years.
Hmm.
Um, and for me, this is how I think. AAU don't teach them nothing. They just take the best players and throw them on the floor and go play basketball. But when we get them, sometimes I be like, "Yo, he don't know how to do this.
Ain't
I
that
mean,
crazy?
he don't know how to do that. Wait a minute. He doesn't, sometimes the IQ is not there
Yeah.
with a lot of players, and it's all right because I mean we didn't have the distractions that these guys have now, and that's one thing. Um, I thank God that we didn't have. We didn't have the social media, the the things that where you got a telephone and you sitting in your locker. I mean, I can walk in our locker sometimes and guys are not talking to each other.
All
You,
right.
you can you they are sitting there on the phone, probably going through their Instagram or their Facebook, whatever, and or texting or doing something else. There's no communication in the locker room a lot of time these days, and
Right.
so that's why I say it's so different now. Now we got to find ways to make these guys communicate, talk to each other, and that's one thing J Kidd has done well with our players. Starting last year when he first got here, he made them talk to each other. He made them talk out, communicate. Um, and so that's why I say the old school is gone. Now we got a new school, and this is how you gotta present it. You gotta adjust to them, and and figure out ways to how you gonna motivate these guys to play. How you gonna motivate these guys to listen, to pay attention to details. And so a lot of times I get the chance to do it through personnel where you're talking about the players, what he's going to do, and so that's always fun and it's always exciting to present stuff like that and try to put a bug in these guys' ears and have them alert for when they're on the floor ready to play.
Definitely. So you mentioned a little bit about it earlier, what kept you going. Can you tell me a little bit about your faith? Like, I know it kept you going. So I know there were many nights you got down on your knees and you was like just going at it with God, like, hey, I need
Hmm.
you. Can you tell me a little bit how that kept you going?
Well, I mean, it kept me going. I was brought up in the church. I was raised in church. Thank God to my mom that she made me go to church. Even days, Sundays, I didn't want to go. She hit me with a brush, hit me with a pick, whatever. You get your tail up and get dressed. You going to church, and but she instilled something in me. She instilled faith. Even when I went to college, a lot of my players, a lot of my teammates would tell you, uh, I would wake up and go to early Sunday morning service. Um, I grab some of the guys. Yo, I'm going to church. Did y'all want to go? I'm leaving such. I hit you. One of my guys, one of my teammates, he's a pastor now. He always remind me, man, like, yo, you used to get up and you used to go to church. But also I want to get to brunch early and then get to the gym because we was playing pickup, but my faith is definitely number one. Even when we played Troy and your grandma used to give you that anointing oil
Get
and
that bless oil.
hey, we'll be on the back of the bus and had an oil, you be anointing yourself. Hey man, Troy, give me some of that. Yeah, give me some of that what grandma gave you.
Right.
Anointing. Because you know, faith goes a long way for me. Even to this day, once I wake up and read my daily word of the day, say my prayers, and I'm getting going. Because you know uh, that's who I trust in. That's who got me where I'm at now. So for
Definitely.
me, uh, I know a lot of people in sports. You'll find TV shows that don't want to talk about it. I found out you don't supposed to say it in sitcoms, talk about God. But I talk about God all day, every day,
Right.
um, because like I was saying, my faith is what I got, and what got me through was trusting in the Lord and staying that course, not spraying away, not going this way, not getting up and putting the work in. So having that, man, was big for me, and I thank my mom for instilling it in me.
Yeah, because I remember, being in the locker room and the first time I ever went to chapel, you was like, "Hey, bro, I'm about to go to chapel." I had never heard of
Hmm.
chapel, and you was
Hmm.
like, "Church." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let's go." So, yeah, I didn't know chapel. I knew church. So, we had
Mhm.
started. I forget that chaplain name. The black guy in Orlando
Eddie, I think it's Eddie.
might be Eddie.
I
Yeah.
want
So
I
yeah,
want to say Eddie.
yeah. So we started going there, and then what's crazy? Almost 20 years later, I became the chaplain for the Timberwolves for two
Yeah,
seasons.
that's
So
great.
yeah, so it's good to be able to have all those dynamics and understanding like you got to have that faith because it gets tough
Yes.
sometimes. And so you have to have
Yeah.
something you can hang your hat on and know that it's
Hmm.
gonna be solid. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I really appreciate having you on here, man, hearing your story. I know this is gonna like uplift somebody who's going through this because I get a lot of young guys that play over in Europe. There's been a lot of guys, man, that got big time game who give up too soon, you
Yeah.
know, and this
Hmm.
is one of them stories that can help them, stay the course, you know what I'm saying? Keep
Hmm.
going because like you said, you didn't start playing to 11th grade.
Yeah.
And you got
Yeah.
guys that's given up who've been playing since second grade. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Hmm.
hearing stories like this is not only for the athlete, it's for the regular person too, who's trying to make it in a career. And it
Yeah.
seems like, it's light years away.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I
Hmm.
really appreciate you, man, getting on, I gave you a call and it's hard to get other brothers that you played with. Everybody be so busy, they say, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
all you always done looked out for me, man. I really appreciate you. And I got to shout out my sponsor, Mad Dog 2020. Uh,
Oh man, hey, I didn't know that. I had a little shout out here too. Shout out to Mad Dog
shout out
2020.
to Mad Dog 2020.
I had that a lot of times at Black College. That was a
Ooh,
treat. That was pretty good to get right there.
my wife, my wife went to Grambling.
Hmm.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
Black College, yeah.
Her
Yes,
daddy,
indeed.
her daddy's Sammy White. So
Hmm.
yeah, so we get back to Black College. I didn't know nothing about Black College. You used to be yelling in the locker room all the time.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, why this man yelling Black College? Like, did he stay in the black dorms or something? The all black dorms?
Uh,
I didn't know what
I
was
had
going
it in
on.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I go back and I'm like, that's why he was so excited
Yes,
because it's a
indeed.
vibe. It's a vibe.
Hmm.
But
Yes.
but yeah, man, I'm gonna let you go, man. But I really appreciate you looking for when y'all come back to town.
We
You got
we done. We
you done,
done.
man. I
We
had
played 2 games. We played
oh
two
you back to
games there.
back. Yeah, I had some
Yeah.
greens for you too.
Yeah. Hey man, I wasn't moving out of that room. Boy, it was so cold outside. Ooh, Lord Jesus.
I'd have brought them to you.
You would have had to bring it to me because it was cold. But real quick and to all the young guys, young people who's trying to make it, Troy, and I think you I know you had this same thing. You got to have tell them they always got to have a vision. You got to see where you're going. Have that vision and know that what you're trying to get to and where you're trying to go. A lot of times, like you were saying, it's been guys who quit early who doesn't have that grind, who might not have that vision. They know they can play, but do they have that vision of saying, this is where I need to be, this is where I need to get to?
Right.
So for all the young people, have that grind and also have that anointing oil that we used to have as well.
Have that oil. Hey, I got on deck. I'm selling it. It worked.
That's good. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I
I appreciate you having.
Yeah,
Thank you,
bro.
man.
All right.
Love you too, bro. Take care.
You too.
All right. Okay.